Charleston, we're working for you with a Storm Tracker update.
All right, we've been looking at this map all morning, partially just because, it's not very often we get to see this kind of stark contrast where you get a tropical storm, formerly a hurricane, a lot of moisture with that, and then all this dry air, and that's getting sucked into Ian and kind of helping it to weaken just a little bit quicker. Thank you, Mother Nature. We'll take the winds where we can. And it's going to prevent it from becoming too strong as it moves out into the open ocean and then approaches us here in the Lowcountry. We already are seeing some rain bands offshore. They're staying away, at least for right now. But again, big thing is all eyes are on Ian and its track. That track, there's still a few questions with it. All impacts are still possible, but based off where it goes, that could affect a little bit and change a few things. Cherison will have more on those impacts here in just a moment. We are looking at improvements for the weekend, though. So, hey, there's a silver lining for you. Something to look forward to. All right, so the latest spaghetti plots. Now, ignoring all the squiggles and squirms after it makes landfall, notice how a bulk of the lines now have it Charleston or north. That is one of the changes, and that would first off, lower our threat with storm surge. It would increase it for the PD and the Grand Strand, but it would lower it for us. So that's the good news. The bad news is that would probably up our rain totals. So it's, it's kind of a pick your poison kind of scenario. Either way, we are still looking at those impacts, but the latest Futurecast, shows all that rain moving in overnight tonight into tomorrow, and then it does show the center of it just skirting past Charleston, actually very close to where Hugo made landfall, if you want to get specific. Obviously significantly weaker, but still that would push more energy towards Myrtle Beach. So for us, that also would drop the tornado threat, which is good news. Now, one thing too, we always look at the Euro model, and this one still keeps it a little bit further to the south. So it's not sold yet on exactly where it will make landfall. And because we're talking the differences between the center, that does make a difference for us here in Charleston. So there are still some questions. One thing I am liking, though, is that trend towards cleaner skies by Saturday. More on those impacts, though, from the storm. Turn over to Cherison Clark.
As Chris mentioned, a lot of those models are starting to kind of shift a little bit more northward, but I think the main impacts that we'll still see here will be that coastal flooding, the very heavy rain causing some more of that inland flooding, and of course some of those gusty winds. But we're not expecting to see any of those impacts until late tonight. You can see that we stay dry throughout this morning, and then we'll start to see that rain move on in by later on this evening, lasting through tomorrow. Definitely going to be a soggy day. Stay indoors if you can, and definitely gonna be really gusty. Those wind gusts up to 55 miles an hour at times, and then we'll start to dry things out as we head into this weekend, as Chris mentioned. But one thing that we need to pay attention to right around high tides for today and tomorrow, we do need to watch that flooding, looking at major flooding potential as right around those high tides. So if you can, try and stay inside. Don't be venturing out on those roads. Otherwise, looking at the rainfall through the next 7 days, could be picking up about 4 to 7+ inches of rain. That's not on top of right around high tide. So gonna be looking pretty soggy through the next couple of days, and we do hang on to that flash flood threat going through the next couple of days as well. Futurecast wind gusts, you can see gusting up to 40 miles an hour starting tonight, and then up to 55, possibly 60 miles an hour as we go into the day tomorrow. Maybe if you do venture outside, don't grab that umbrella. It will blow away. Temperatures today only staying in the upper 60s, close to 70 degrees, and then we'll start to see some of those showers work on in. And tomorrow is that storm tracker day with those temperatures in the low to mid 70s. Otherwise, I'm going to send it over to Trooper Bob, who's been at this structure fire for the last couple of hours. Any latest updates on that out there, Trooper Bob?